Welcome and thank you for joining us today. My name is Sean Moss with Down Payment Resource. We also have with us representatives from our DPA research team, Veronica Candelwall. We have our Director of Marketing, Melinda Harris, and we have our Account Manager, Fern White. And they're going to be in the background answering questions as we go. We encourage you to keep this interactive. We're here to help you learn how to talk about DPAs and educate first-time home buyers and leverage the tools and resources that are out there to encourage buyers to explore home ownership and to help them along that path. So keep it interactive, use the questions feature in Zoom, and we'll leave some time for Q&A at the end. So today we're talking about how to grow your first-time homebuyer business. Last year was a banner year for refinances, but as real estate agents and for many of you as loan officers, the purchase is always or still on purchase business. So we want to help you grow your first-time homebuyer pipeline. We want to talk about some of the tools and resources and trends that are out there to help you achieve that goal. So we're going to talk today a little bit about the state of down payment assistance and just kind of reaffirm for you that DPAs are alive and well. They have not and are not going anywhere. We'll talk about the impact of a DPA, first-time homebuyer market opportunities, and a lot about educating buyers about down payments and quite honestly, helping you guys educate yourselves about down payment assistance programs and down payment requirements. But most of this webinar today is going to be about enhancing your marketing to expand your reach and specifically using Down Payment Connect. And we're going to do that by way of showing you how your peers in real estate and lending across the country are using Down Payment Connect to reach first-time home buyers, to educate them about the possibilities with home ownership, and specifically to connect them to down payment programs available in their market. Now, a little bit about us. We track and monitor all of the homebuyer programs for down payment and closing cost help and tax credits and more all over the country. There literally is no market in the country that doesn't have some sort of down payment assistance available. And we integrate into your MLS systems. So we have many MLS partners. We'll show you who they are. With those partners, you have access to a lot more down payment assistance information, but we also have subscription tools for both real estate agents and loan officers to help you accomplish some of the goals and some of the tasks that you're going to see today. But overall, our goal is to help you connect home buyers to the down payment help that they need. So given that, let's dive in. Now, let's just talk about down payment assistance broadly for a moment. We have a separate webinar where we break down the characteristics of down payment programs, and we really dig into the most common types of homebuyer programs. But we do want to just broadly cover, what does this mean? What are we talking about when we talk about down payment assistance and homebuyer programs and so forth? 78% of all of the programs, the homebuyer assistance programs around the country, are for down payment or closing cost assistance. Now, that's a very broad category. There are also affordable first mortgage programs. There are mortgage credit certificates, which are tax credits. Not in every state, but in many states and some bigger markets, there are mortgage credit certificates. And there are some other less common types of homebuyer assistance that we track and monitor as well. But the vast majority of these homebuyer programs are for down payment and closing cost help. Now, I mentioned a moment ago, that's a very broad category. There are grants. Grants are it's a true gift at closing. There's no subordinate loan. There's no second mortgage. There's no lien on the property from that down payment program if it is a true grant. But there are a lot of down payment assistance programs that are second mortgages or subordinate loans. Now, those can vary widely as well. 65% of those second mortgages have deferred payments, meaning that the buyer does not make payments on that loan, that subordinate loan, during the life of the loan or over some period of time. Almost half of those down payment assistance programs that are not grants are forgivable, meaning over time, as long as the buyer stays in the house as their primary residence, that loan becomes forgiven in portions over time, or maybe all at once after a certain milestone, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. And then almost 40% of these programs are both deferred and forgiven. So there are a lot of different kinds of down payment assistance out there, but broadly speaking, that's what we're talking about. Just know that when we say down payment assistance, they come in many varieties. So every program is different, but there are about 2,300 some programs around the country. Now, this graphic here shows you where the states are with maybe the most programs, but every state has a state housing finance agency. There are cities and counties and nonprofits and community development financial institutions and so many other kinds of organizations in every state that provide all manner of down payment assistance, closing cost help, tax credits, affordable mortgages, mortgage insurance benefits, and so forth. So there are literally programs everywhere. And as far as trends, we just want to be clear that every state housing finance agency stayed open last year through the COVID pandemic and remain open today. And in fact, many, if not most, state housing finance agencies had record years last year in terms of volume of mortgage and down payment assistance originations or loans. Now, for you loan officers and for everybody really, but for loan officers, that's purchase business to the tune of tens of billions of dollars going through just state housing finance agencies. And that doesn't even account for, the municipal programs, home funds, community development block grant funds that go to cities and counties and nonprofits. And we saw throughout the year, especially the second half of last year, more new state and local programs for homebuyer assistance continued to launch in markets all over the country. And as of right now today, we checked this morning, over 81% of all of these homebuyer programs are currently funded, active, and available to you and your clients. And then, of course, we all know that basically everything's being done online, but that includes homebuyer education. Often these programs require the completion of a homebuyer education course by the buyer. And part of the way that these program providers maintained continuity with their program last year was migrating in-person homebuyer education courses to online platforms. Those online services have been around for a while, eHome America, Framework, there are many others, but we saw a lot of down payment assistance program providers adopt online homebuyer education to keep their program out to the public. Now, there were a lot of changes out of DC. There were some programs that had to hit pause last year, but we never really saw the number of funded programs drop below the norm. 81% is kind of a norm. It has been for many years, and we track that quarterly. So all of that is to say, maybe you heard that a specific program went away or had changes last year, but on the whole, down payment assistance is still available. Down payment assistance programs did not and are not going away. So we want to move forward today with that in mind, so that you do have confidence in an updated, current, appropriate perspective about down payment assistance programs. They're still here. They're not going anywhere. And whether or not you knew it, state housing finance agencies did record volume all over the country last year. Now, let's think for a moment about renters, the renter mindset. They want to stop renting. Rates are so low. Access to credit is so affordable right now. They want to take advantage of that. But many renters, especially the younger they are, have misperceptions about what it takes to become a homeowner, how much of a down payment you need. They don't know that these down payment assistance programs exist. And they're only going to find that out in many cases through you guys, their real estate agent and their loan officer, when they call on you with questions or curiosities and they want to explore home ownership. And many of them doubt that they have enough to cover a down payment, but they also have serious misperceptions about how much of a down payment they actually need. That's probably the biggest, most important misperception that we need to combat. So to dig into that a little bit, we did a study with the Urban Institute a couple years ago, and it was all about barriers to accessing home ownership. And there were a couple of key questions in a survey of potential home buyers that I want to point out. One of the parts of this study was to ask prospective home buyers a series of questions about their home ownership goals and their path to home ownership. And when asked what the biggest barrier to home ownership was, more than 2/3 of those clients or those prospective home buyers told us that the down payment was their biggest barrier to home ownership. And almost 2/3 thought that they actually, when asked what kind of down payment they needed, they thought they had to get 15% or 20% or more to buy a home. Now, we all know, being in the industry, that's just flat out wrong. VA, USDA, if you're a qualified veteran or if the property is a qualified rural property, you can get a 100% LTV, zero down loan. FHA, 3.5% down. Conventional, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac both have 3% down products, and 5% down is kind of the standard for conventional. So the fact that so many, especially younger potential home buyers, think that they need 15 or 20% down is must be causing a huge swath of potential home buyers and clients for you to sideline themselves, sitting on the bench thinking they don't have enough of a down payment and striving to get to that 15 or 20% down just to buy a home, thinking that that's a requirement. We know it's not. We have to educate prospective buyers about that fact and also let them know that there are down payment assistance programs out there to help them achieve this goal. And to that point, one of the other questions we asked that I want to point out was when asked if they had any familiarity with low down payment programs, which, by the way, didn't mean down payment assistance, just low down payment mortgages, like all of those I just rattled off, more than 3/4 of those potential home buyers had little or no familiarity with low down payment mortgage programs, not to mention down payment assistance, right? So those are some serious misperceptions that buyers suffer from. But look, perception is reality, right? So we have to combat those misperceptions by way of education, and our marketing, when it reaches those consumers, needs to address these misperceptions. Now, this was a year ago. Let's go back 1 year and think of everything that we've all been through in the last year. But Clever.com did a survey of potential home buyers, and they asked, where do you intend to get your down payment from? So I just mentioned all of the woes trying to educate consumers about the fact that these down payment programs are out there, but there is some hope. When asked that question, where do you intend to get your down payment from? The millennials that responded, the second most common answer was homebuyer assistance programs. Now that's good because it means awareness is on the rise about these down payment assistance programs, but not even a third of those surveyed knew about these kinds of programs. So there's still a lot more education to be done, but we're all, as an industry and as a group here on this call, doing a better job of making sure that prospective buyers know and understand that there are down payment assistance options out there. And that's the kind of knowledge that's going to get them to react to your marketing, to pick up the phone and call you when they get an email or they get listings. That's the kind of thing that's going to incentivize them to get off the bench, get off the sidelines, and explore home ownership. So that sort of begs the question, how can we serve buyers? We have to be trusted advisors. We have to provide information that's going to help them prepare for the future, especially and in particular, the home ownership journey. And then when we're past all of this COVID stuff, buyers are going to want to work with people and with companies or brands that were there to serve them and educate them and keep them informed during a time of crisis or volatility or confusion. And when we close them, they're going to tell their vast peer network. That's a huge purchase business referral pipeline. So what are home buyers looking for? We did a lot of work reaching and educating home buyers. We for the first time last year, we did a series of home buyer education webinars, just prepping and overcoming misperceptions and putting accurate information in front of them about the home ownership journey and process. And what we found out of that and some other research we've done in the last year was that, first of all, they need help navigating the home buying process. That's not a surprise for a first-time home buyer, but they also need help getting pre-approved. Think about a younger millennial and what they've grown up through when it comes to housing and housing finance and mortgages through the crisis 10 years ago, through all the drama in the last year or so. It's got to be confusing to figure out how to get pre-approved for a home loan and navigate that process. And it's only more confusing because rates are so low, but prices are on the rise and inventory is so tight. They just need help understanding all of that and navigating that. They also need to complete their homebuyer education courses. They need to know to do that up front. We are the ones to tell them. We hear sometimes, well, down payment assistance, that can delay a transaction. In our research, one of the top causes of delays is not getting that homebuyer education course done up front and realizing later that it has to be done because it's required. There's a simple fix for that. Do it before you get pre-qualified. Do it before you ever sign a contract. They also need help covering their down payment and covering closing costs. And then all of that basically sums up to they need help navigating a competitive market with limited inventory. And we all know inventory right now. I mean, when we wrote up this slide months ago, inventory was pretty bad. Now it's basically as bad as it's been in a long, long time. So education, that's the way to combat some of these obstacles and misperceptions. Now, let's get into the tools that are available to help you tap into this purchase pipeline and educate these future buyers. If your MLS is listed on the screen here among our down payment resource partners, then you have access to all kinds of information about DPA programs on a specific listing basis. If you see this icon on a listing in your MLS system, then you can click it and we'll tell you what's available for that property. Your clients can see that as well when you send them listings. And then if you are in California, California Association of Realtors has partnered with us to power a down payment search that provides some more information about these programs. Your clients can go to finddownpayment.car.org and search anywhere in the state of California for homebuyer assistance. CAR members can go to downpayment.car.org and perform a search the same way, get more information, and also get some co-branded marketing tools and access to other marketing resources to help you spread the word. So let's talk about Down Payment Connect. If you are a member of one of our MLS partners, you already have Down Payment Connect for free. It's part of our partnership with your MLS. If you did not see your MLS on that list, which I'll bring up again in a few minutes, we do have a subscription option for those agents that are outside of our MLS partner markets and also for loan officers. Now we have loan officers on here as well. You can go to downpaymentresource.com/DPC if you are not a member of one of our MLS partners, and you can also take advantage of Down Payment Connect. That's what we want to do now, is show you how Down Payment Connect is working across the country for real estate agents and loan officers who are connecting with consumers and making purchases happen. So if you are a member of one of those MLS partners, let me first show you how to go get your Down Payment Connect link, and then I'll show you what it does and how others are using it. I can't show every MLS system here, so to give you an example, log into your MLS dashboard in external links or quick links or partner links. There will be a widget like that. Click on Down Payment Resource. That will take you to our DPR dashboard where you will see your Down Payment Connect link at the top of the page. That is what you send to consumers to let them search for down payment programs where they want to buy a home, and they connect directly back to you and only you. And we will show you that workflow in a moment. You also here have a number of marketing resources, graphics, flyers, tutorials, videos, and so forth. And we'll show you some of that as well to help supplement your marketing efforts and your educational efforts with this audience. Additionally, and we've got the URL here. We, in fact, Melinda, who's in the background answering questions, she's on our marketing team, and she runs the Down Payment Insiders group on Facebook. This is a forum with over 7,000 real estate agents and loan officers around the country that are sharing ideas and obstacles and challenges and best practices and solutions when dealing with down payment assistance programs, realtors and loan officers partnering up and the strategies they used, successes, marketing successes, content that worked, lead generation strategies that worked, all around down payment programs and first-time home buyers. So we encourage you to join that Facebook group and listen in or engage, pose questions. We try to keep it interactive, but those are your peers all over the country sharing stories about how to get this right and how to make this work. So I'll give you a couple of testimonials here so you can kind of get a feel for what we're seeing, what we're hearing, the creativity that's out there. Amber at the top is younger and her peer network is all first-time home buyers. Many of them don't have a large sum of money for down payment. She's in Florida in some relatively high cost markets. Other agents, didn't want to give attention to those clients or give them the education that they needed. So she partnered up with loan officers, showed them these clients down payment assistance programs, and she has built her business. Raul is a veteran at the bottom here. He's in Austin, Texas. He's basically, by way of education, inserted down payment assistance into all of his drip marketing, all of his educational efforts, and in particular to help veterans in Texas figure out how to navigate the process of home ownership or home buying more efficiently. So, Down Payment Connect. Now I'm going to show you some slides first and just give you examples and some dialogue about how Down Payment Connect is working across the country with your peers, leveraging down payment assistance information to educate and attract new buyers. I do have some live examples. So from some of these that you're going to see, I actually want to show you their websites and kind of interact a little bit so you can see functionally how these marketing ideas and tactics are working. So first thing is landing page. Let me show you, I'm actually going to hop out real quick here, and I want to show you the actual Down Payment Connect landing page. So whether you have this through our partnership with your MLS, or if you subscribe to the paid version, part of what you get, and the crux of it all, is this consumer-facing down payment search page where a consumer can come to a page unique to you. They can search for home buyer programs. Let's say I want to buy a home in Tampa. You would license this for your state, but I'll use Florida as an example. And I can enter my estimated purchase price if I want to. If that exceeds purchase price limits of the available programs, then we account for that. If I want to enter my household income, now I don't have to, right? All I have to enter is a location as a consumer, and it will start to count up all the down payment programs available to me. But let's say we're a household of 3, maybe a couple with a child, and income is $97,000. Well, that exceeded the income limits of a lot of programs, but if the income was $54,000, we have a lot more on the table, right? So these are the sort of high level qualifying criteria that can impact eligibility or availability of down payment assistance programs. Likewise, home ownership history. Maybe you're a first time home buyer. Guess what? Not all these programs have a first time home buyer requirement. That's a common misperception, even among us professionals in the industry. About 40% of all down payment assistance programs allow repeat or sometimes even current owners. So you don't necessarily have to be a first-time home buyer to access down payment assistance. And even more importantly, the definition of a first-time home buyer in the down payment assistance world is that you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years. So if you owned a home, but it's been 4, 5, 6 years, you're a first-time home buyer again, at least for the purposes of down payment assistance. Now, when the buyer's done, maybe they've got a military background, that might open up the door for more opportunities. Maybe there are teacher programs, healthcare provider programs, first responder programs. It depends on the market, but check into that in your market. But when the consumer's done, they don't see all these programs in details. We don't want to tell the consumer all about a silent second, deferred for 5 years, forgivable if you stay in the house. We don't need to get into all that yet. What we want to do is set up a conversation between you and that prospective home buyer so that you can continue that dialogue and start to educate them about the fact that this is possible. They are on the cusp of home ownership, and there's just an obstacle or two to work out. So they fill out this contact form. They click on the button here that says get program details. They'll see a thank you screen. I'll show you all that now. So let me hop back into our slides here. Whoops, I'm sorry. Where was I? Let's see, right here. So I showed you the page, the workflow. The consumer fills out their information, whatever they want to. All they have to enter is location. And then when they're done, they fill out the contact form. We'll tell them how many programs are out there and how many assistance dollars they might be eligible for. But we're not going to get into what those 17 programs are called. When they fill out this form and complete it, 2 emails go out. They'll get a thank you message. So they're still not going to see any programs on the screen. And again, the idea is to connect them to you and let you have that conversation with them, not our website, not the Down Payment Connect tool. So we want to start the conversation and open the door for you to continue it. So when they fill out this form, they will get emailed a search confirmation at that point, and that will tell them which programs came up in their search. They'll get the names of the programs and how many dollars they might get. I'll show you an example. This is what the consumer gets. There is one link in this email, and it's your email address. There's one phone number, and it is your phone number. That's it. They're calling you. What you get is the lead email. Now, this tells you who that buyer is, where they searched, how many programs they found, their contact information, and also you in the lead will get links to the details of those programs. So when you pick up the phone and call that prospect, you can say, hey, by the way, I saw you found that Florida Housing Finance program. I'm looking at the details here. You could get up to $10,000 or $7,500. It's deferred, it's forgivable, it's this or that, whatever the program is. So that's how the actual Down Payment Connect lead gen tool works. You get your own landing page, consumers go to it and do a search and connect to you to figure out what to do next. That means, how do you line up? Well, there are the program details you get. So we'll tell you who the participating lenders are. If you have lender partners that participate in these programs, then start talking to them about how to handle these buyers. If you need to find lender partners, we link you to the program provider's website so you can see who their approved lending partners are. And for you loan officers if you participate in these programs, bring that up with your real estate agent partners and make sure that you guys have a strategy in place for handling incoming first-time home buyers. Now, we also give you links to flyers and guidelines and a lot more, as well as contact information for each agency. So if you have additional questions, you can reach out to the program provider, maybe partner up with them to do some, I would say lunch and learn, but right now it would be more like a virtual, home buyer fair, something like that. Now, how are realtors and loan officers using Down Payment Connect across the country? I mentioned that was the crux of the webinar today. So this is halftime. So we just covered kind of background about down payment assistance programs, the state of DPA. I showed you how to get Down Payment Connect, whether you subscribe or if you have it through our partnership with your MLS. So let's now spend some time looking at how real estate agents and loan officers all over the country are using that tool in particular. We're going to focus on Down Payment Connect to educate and incentivize prospective buyers to reach out to you and to continue that conversation, to get pre-qualified, to go search for properties, to leverage down payment assistance to become homeowners. So let's start simple. This is a real estate agent in Atlanta, and this is his home page. This is one of the examples I'll show you live in a moment, but this is his home page. And right under his bio, the next thing he tells his website visitors is down payment assistance is out there. So you see a click here link, you see a graphic on the left that says down payment money is available, see if you're eligible. Both of those are links to his Down Payment Connect page where the consumer can then connect directly to those down payment programs available where they want to buy a home. So he's saying, here's who I am. And by the way, there's down payment assistance out there, front and center. Now, here's an example of taking that search experience that we just saw. And this is another agent outside of Atlanta. She's just embedded the search form into what's called an iframe. So she created a page dedicated to this tool and just embedded the search form on that page. So you're not linking out to another browser tab. The upside here is that the buyer remains on your website and they're just doing the search within a page on your website. That's an option too. This is an example of sort of the byproduct of mobile advertising and social advertising. This is also sort of an iframe. And let's see, Veronica, I think here did, is she built a little widget and she drives social traffic to this page. And based on device size, this is all going to wrap and it's going to present the search experience right here on the page. So it's similar to the last example, but she's doing a lot more on social. And so she framed it so that it wraps according to device size and orientation and so forth. Now, here's an example. If you look at the top, we're on Premier Homes by Angela. She has created a navigation menu item at the top of her page. So you see she's got home, lease to own, buyer, seller, resources, right? She's also got mortgage options there. Now she's partnered up with her lenders to provide mortgage information. You're going to see some great examples of that here in a moment. So be thinking about that realtor loan officer partnership and how that relates to first-time home buyers and down payment assistance programs. But she created a navigation item at the top of her page so that anybody that comes to her website can explore down payment assistance just as quickly and easily as if they were looking at buyer resources or wanted to set an appointment or visit her blog. I'm going to come back to blogs too, actually. So she's also used an iframe. The form is right there on the page. All they have to do is click down payment assistance at the top of any page on her website, and they're right here doing a search in her Down Payment Connect tool. Email. So we looked at a few website examples. Let's talk about email for a moment. Using Down Payment Connect in your email signature is a great way to ensure that anyone in receipt of an email you sent, or anyone in receipt of an email you sent that was forwarded on to someone else, knows that down payment assistance is out there and has a path to find those programs. So in this example, Sal has added to his email signature a graphic that says down payment money is available. That's just one of the many graphics we offer in all of our marketing resources. And then he just links that to his Down Payment Connect page. So if he emails somebody and they forward it on to someone they know to be looking for a home, they all know that down payment help is out there first and foremost, and they have a way to search for it and connect back to Sal or you and continue that conversation. I mentioned blogs earlier. Here's an example of a blog post in an extremely high cost market where, yes, down payment assistance is still available. So Southern California, New York, it doesn't matter, high cost, low cost, east, west, mid-America, north, south, there are down payment assistance programs in every state. This blog post was written years ago and for several years was repurposed, sometimes reposted, but for several years, this one blog post continued to bring leads to this brokerage. And it was all based on having a text link in the copy of the blog, which itself wasn't that long. But they wrote this up, added a link to Down Payment Connect, and that brought leads and consumers and prospective homebuyers in the door for a long, long time. So if you have a blog, you are always looking for content ideas, right? You want it to be relevant, you want it to be useful, you want it to be insightful, educational, and of course, you want it to incentivize people to reach out to you. This is a great way to do it. Talk about down payment assistance briefly. It doesn't have to be an ebook. It can just be simple, to the point. Offer them a path to find down payment help, and you're opening the door to connect with a larger audience. Video, we're going to show you some video examples, but I'll show you this site live here in a few minutes too. This team in Richmond, they started a page about down payment assistance, and they actually added a lot of content. Their goal was to enable their website visitors and their prospective clients to educate themselves, and then incentivize them to reach out. But also, when they reached out, they're more curious but also better educated about down payment assistance. They started it with a video, they produced the video, and the page goes on to offer a lot of content and several opportunities to use Down Payment Connect to find down payment help. I'll actually show you that example because they've got a ton of content on that page, and they did a great job of writing up kind of a primer on down payment assistance for the first-time home buyer. Checklists. What do you send to your new clients when they first get inserted into your drip campaigns and your marketing tools? Do you have checklists? Do you have how-tos? Do you have FAQs? What kind of content are you sending them? And is it addressing the obstacles and the challenges relative to where they are in the home buying process? So here's an example of a brokerage in Texas. One of the first things that any new client gets once they're onboarded in it and included in outbound marketing is a 3-step home buyer checklist. Step 1, literally, as you see here, is finding out what you can afford, including understanding and learning about down payment assistance programs. And then step 2 is speaking with a loan professional. Then they get to the property search, right? So this is a real estate brokerage, and this is their checklist. So I'm going to go back for a moment to that partnership. Real estate agents find loan officers that participate in and understand and perform with these programs. Loan officers make sure that your real estate partners know that you offer these programs because maybe it just hasn't come up. And I promise you, we hear this all the time. A realtor loan officer partnership is in place. They're doing business, but it never came up. And a client that needed a DPA never came in the door for any number of reasons. But neither one knew that DPAs were even an option because they just never had that conversation. So have that conversation and explore, the down payment assistance programs that your lender participates in, and lenders make sure that your real estate partners know that you offer those programs, and that's a path to purchase business by way of a sound, thoughtful partnership. Facebook, social media, I'll show you a couple examples. We looked at Raul earlier. One of the things that he does, and he's in Texas, one of the things that he does is initiate a drip campaign of videos, 10 videos, the 10 most common questions asked by home buyers. And each week or so, the buyer will get a new video and just kind of cycle through those top 10 questions. One of those questions in that series is, what's the best approach to look for down payment and closing cost help? And he's got a short video about that. And then, you pump people into Down Payment Connect and they can start that search. Success stories. So this is on social media, and I'll show you this team's page, their brokerage in Twin Cities. But just as a best practice, this could be a blog post. This could be something on social media. This could be a page on your website even. But talk about past customers that you helped with a down payment assistance program. And it can be anonymous, right? You don't have to name names. But in doing so, first, you're letting consumers know that down payment assistance exists. Second, you're letting them know that you offer and work with these programs. Third, you're sort of implying that you have the partnerships in place with loan officers, lenders that offer these programs. And lastly, you're confirming for them that you got it done. It's that simple, and it doesn't have to be long. This is just 4 or 5 sentences here. Hey, we had a home buyer. We got them $12,000 in down payment help. They closed. They got into their dream home, and that's it, right? But that's the kind of message that a consumer needs to hear and appreciates when they do, because it's confirmation that there's a path ahead for them. And I'll also point out again, look at the brands across the top of the page. This team has partnered up with several mortgage companies to make sure they have an outlet and a path for clients that need down payment assistance. Or think of it this way, for renters who could be buyers if they had down payment assistance. And think about what that can do to your pipeline if we sort of reimagine the use case for down payment assistance. How many credit and income qualified renters are out there that can buy a home? They can qualify, but for covering all of the down payment or closing costs. There's help out there. So that's not a reason to be sidelined. Now, video, back to video. This is that same team in Twin Cities. Look at a couple of things here. First of all, look at the locations. The main video on the screen here, it's in a kitchen next to a fridge. On the right side, one of them is sort of in a hallway with an office in the background. One is in the corner of a room. But look at the timestamps as well. They're all plus or minus 1 minute, right? Show your personality. Give a quick hitting piece of advice. If you look at the titles, the main one here, how to find a lender that offers down payment assistance. That's the real estate agent talking to consumers, displaying his personality, letting them know that DPAs are out there by way of telling them how to find a lender that offers that help. On the other side here, what first-time homebuyers need to know about MI, how to get rid of MI, credit, pre-approvals, largely lender-related topics, but share your expertise, let people know that these programs are out there, and use video, especially on social media, quick-hitting ways to capture attention, to educate, and to incentivize people to reach out to you. Another example of adding education to your website, I'm going to show you this example live as well. This team in Seattle added a lot of content about DPAs, and they actually also embedded the search form on that page. So those two things combined make for a great page on your website, and I'm going to show you that live. Here's another idea. This is different. This realtor created sort of a splash page, a landing page, where people enter their name and email, and then if they click that big green button, then she sends them into Down Payment Connect. Now, you don't have to do that, but she's actually found that she's vetting people. She's getting their contact information before letting them into Down Payment Connect. And the outcome has been, whether that was through Facebook ads driving the traffic or elsewhere, um, she has found that to be a very successful lead gen exercise. She gets good leads, they're responding, they're interested, responding as in they respond when she picks up the phone and calls them, and they're interested, they're motivated. So that splash page, that initial form, that's hers. She built that, but it was a way to ensure the seriousness of those that were using Down Payment Connect. Now, Instagram, I'll give you a couple examples here, and then I want to show you some of these live. Post content on Instagram about down payment assistance, leverage hashtags, leverage content. We give you access to all kinds of content about DPAs related to first-time home buyers and so forth. So leverage that on Instagram if you're there. LinkedIn, we don't even really have an example of LinkedIn here, but that's another place where we're seeing a lot of activity with Down Payment Connect now. This is another example of just adding simple, quick hitting, basic content about down payment assistance, and then give them a path to Down Payment Connect and to find the programs that are available to them. You can also use a tool like Linktree or something similar, which allows you to add links in your Instagram bio. So here's an example of that. On the left side, you kind of see the main page. On the right side, you see that in their bio, they've added links. You may qualify for home buying assistance. Find out today, the highlighted one. That's a link to Down Payment Connect. And Kiana and her team in Atlanta, they leverage that to educate first-time home buyers and bring them into their pipeline. We offer all kinds of marketing resources. I mentioned graphics packages. You've seen plenty of them as we've gone here. We provide those through that marketing resources link when you access Down Payment Connect, whether you subscribe or you get it through your MLS. We have all kinds of other graphics. Use those in social media. They're formatted for various social media platforms. We provide customizable flyers that you can use. And I mentioned video tutorials, the Down Payment Insiders Facebook group, and more. But all of this is to help you start more conversations. Add these to your email signature, market eligible properties with program information, use them in Facebook ad campaigns or just marketing campaigns. Use it in Instagram, including in your profile, LinkedIn, educational content on your website, maybe even a first-time home buyer or down payment assistance like page or section on your website specifically dedicated to the topic. You saw several examples of video, tutorials, educational explainer videos. Keep them quick hitting. They don't have to be Hollywood productions. Make them personal. Host virtual events. We'll talk in a moment about who your home buyer, who your champions are in this process, your best partners. But that's something that, hopefully, I don't want to say if, but as we begin to kind of open back up, hosting in-person events is a great networking opportunity. It's a great marketing opportunity. It's a great partnership opportunity with some of the partners I'm going to discuss here in a moment. But before I do that, I do want to show you some of these examples live. So we looked at Brian's page. He's a realtor in Atlanta. We saw his bio. This is the home page, right? You don't have to navigate to get to this. Right under his bio, there you go, down payment assistance. It's the first thing he's telling buyers that come to his page. And then Richmond, this is the team in Richmond, one of the first to really go all in and add a lot of educational content. In fact, Inman News, if you're familiar with them, picked this up several years ago and wrote up a story about what a good educational page this was. But they basically built a page dedicated to down payment assistance. They produced a video, and then they went on. This is why I wanted to show you. They went on to add all kinds of content here to help prospective buyers educate themselves. And they've found that to be very successful. They've had this up and running and have grown their team largely, or at least in part, based on first-time home buyer business and educating them about DPAs. But you see the graphic here. That's a link to their Down Payment Connect page. There's a link buried in the text. Now they're getting into who qualifies for down payment assistance, the impact of family finances, your first-time homebuyer status, your profession, and the impact on down payment assistance eligibility. There's another graphic link to Down Payment Connect. So what are we up to? 3? Sales price. Programs are available everywhere. And then they end with the bottom line. Down payment assistance criteria can vary, so investigate your options. And that's what they're trying to do here is educate prospective buyers and then give them a path to research their options. An example of, so we looked at Susan's page, or we looked at a snapshot of it, but just so you can see it, she's got a down payment assistance page, and you scroll through and you fill out the form and enter everything right here on her website. And because she's added all of this to an iframe, you never actually leave her page. So when you're done with that, if you want to go search for properties, or if you want to go look at neighborhood information, you can do all of those. Now, this is an example of the navigation at the top. So we actually looked at this earlier. Down payment assistance. It's right there in the site navigation. Anybody that comes to the site can click on down payment assistance, and that's going to take you to this page where she has added her down payment connect link, again, an iframe. So you do the search, you never leave her site. When you're done, you can go look at buyer resources, you can go search for properties, whatever you need to do, right? Another example of a couple of things we've looked at combined. This is a team in Seattle that built a page dedicated to down payment assistance. They provide some content here. They're educating website visitors, talking about criteria, incomes, some of the things that impact down payment assistance, but they're also offering that search form on the same page. So they educate and they've embedded the form, and you can just link out to it, right? You don't have to embed the form, but the point is they'll do the search here and stay on the website. And in fact, in this case, stay on a page that is already dedicated to the topic of down payment assistance. And then I want to show you two Facebook examples. So this is an agent in Alabama. He's got this Alabama first-time homebuyer page, and he's offered a number of things here. He's got posts that are all related to first-time homebuyer information. He's got his down payment connect link right here, and you can even set up an appointment with him. See, let me find that on the page here. Somewhere, oh, here we go. So you can set up an appointment, and you can even select the topic, down payment assistance, right? So that's a great way to engage. That's a great way to educate. That's a great way to get people talking to you. If they're not ready to set up an appointment, he's provided his down payment connect link, and maybe that's the way they come in the door. Nonetheless, Kurt here in Alabama has done a great job of engaging first-time home buyers by way of down payment assistance education. And then I showed you some examples of this team in the Twin Cities. I started with this post here, and to the extent that we have a moment, just kind of look at what they're saying here. Not every lender offers down payment assistance, right? That's fine. But for those that do, as a consumer, work with those that offer the products and the solutions that you need for the obstacles and challenges you face. He's got video here too. It's a 1-minute video. There's that kitchen we saw earlier, right? But it's a great post. He's got links to his website. That could be Down Payment Connect, anything. But this team in the Twin Cities has dedicated their page again to first-time home buyers and continues to provide quick-hitting video, educational content, and access to down payment assistance information, all while confirming that they have relationships in place with loan officers and lenders who know these DPA programs and do them frequently and do them well. So I hope that helps. I know we gave you a lot of information today, but let's round it out with leverage the experts. Look for participating lenders. We've covered that in detail. Realtors, lenders, develop those partnerships, talk about DPAs, first-time home buyers, your strategies, how to set expectations. And I'll add to that, it's also important to set expectations for the seller and for the seller's agent. We hear sometimes that there can be inhibition about accepting offers where DPA is involved. What is the value to the seller? What are the benefits to them? Overcome their inhibitions. Hey, we're qualified. We've got the down payment assistance. We're ready to go. We just need to sign a contract. Home buyer education is done. Also, if they can use the down payment assistance program to cover closing costs, make sure the seller knows that. You can make a more competitive offer potentially than other buyers by saying, you know what, I'll give you list price, but I don't need any closing cost help from you. That may be a net positive for the seller, but you got to frame it that way. So anyway, hope that helps. Host virtual seminars. Right now, it's probably got to be virtual, right? But talk to your local down payment assistance providers, talk to your state housing finance agency, lenders, real estate agents, work together. virtual seminars, educating first-time home buyers, reaching a renter audience. That's a great way to generate a pipeline and to educate a larger pipeline. Highlight information about your local DPA programs in your marketing content. I won't get into the weeds here, but if you get to know one or two or three of the programs available in your market, just get to know the basic benefits and then highlight that in your marketing. You may actually find that your housing finance agency or some of the down payment assistance program providers in your market already have marketing content made available to you. And then lastly, if or when you get the chance, especially if you could do it in person at some point, it would be great to it would be great for you to attend a home buyer education course and listen to the message, listen to what they're teaching buyers, absorb what those buyers are learning in that class and incorporate those lessons and those mantras and the value provided to a buyer in those classes into your marketing efforts. Now, I'll wrap it up here and we'll get into Q&A for a few minutes. We're going to do a hard stop 2 Eastern or just before, just to be conscious of your time. But here again is our list of MLS partners. If your MLS is on this list, then you have Down Payment Connect for free. It's available. Just log into your MLS dashboard and click Down Payment Resource, and your link will be waiting for you along with access to marketing resources. That's all part of our MLS partnership with these MLSs. More are coming. If you do not see your MLS here, or if you are a loan officer, you can go to downpaymentresource.com/downpaymentconnect and learn more about the tool and some of the other features, benefits that you get. But you saw the crux of it. The crux of it is you get a unique landing page where consumers come, search for down payment assistance, connect to you and only you, and you're immediately given their contact information, and the door is open to start that conversation and assist that prospective buyer on their home ownership journey. So we encourage you to use Down Payment Connect. We encourage you to use all the resources that we provide to you. This works for agents and loan officers, as you've seen in many of these examples today. And Down Payment Insiders, that Facebook group, is a great way for you to engage with your peers in markets all over the country and figure out what's working for them. So with that, we'll get into Q&A. Melinda, Veronica, Fern, anything queued up? And I'll leave our contact information up on the screen here.
Sean, this is Veronica. I just wanted to share with you, one of the participants shared with us that a method they use. They say that they run DPR for a list of programs in a neighborhood for open houses. So I thought we should share that with others to see if that would be useful for them as well.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Do a search for if you want to win a listing for real estate agents. If you're thinking about how to win listings and how to market properties, or even create inventory. If somebody's mulling over the idea of selling, then let them know what kinds of down payment assistance programs are available for their property. And okay, tight inventory, fast-paced market right now. Sure, maybe that a lot of us might gloss over that currently, but long term, that's a sound strategy for creating sellers and for winning sellers over. But Mel, Veronica, Fern, what else? Any other common questions we can address in our last few minutes here?
Yeah, hey, this is Mel. I just wanted to say really quick, we've had a lot of people asking. We will be sending out a recording of this session after the webinar ends. You'll probably receive it tomorrow. So you'll get a recording. You'll also, in that follow-up email, you'll get some helpful tips. Some of the links that Sean went over today, I know that a lot of it was coming fast. So we'll make sure to include that. And we've also had several questions about social media. We have a video on social media marketing with your Down Payment Connect link. So I'll make sure to include that in the follow-up as well. And then we'll have contact information in there. So I just wanted to let everyone know that we'd be sending that. We had several people ask. So I know this was a lot of info today, but we will follow up with all of these links, everything Sean discussed, and then a copy of the recording.
Okay, good deal. I see a couple questions here. I'll address these, and then we want to be conscious of everybody's time so we can get out there and create some buyers. I see a question in here. Does each lender have their own education requirements? Actually, the homebuyer education requirements almost always are enforced by the program provider. So it's the program provider that determines whether a homebuyer education course must be completed, and then also where the buyer would go to do that. I see a question here about, can I customize my landing page? We don't have a lot of customization features available for the paid version. You can add your logo or a headshot to the top of the page. For the free version, there's really no customization. Let's see. Are these programs available to FHA rehab loans? Steve, potentially. It depends on the program. That's not too common, but there are some programs out there, it depends on the market, where the assistance funds can be used for property rehabilitation, which would coincide with like a 203K, I guess is what you're getting at. So it's possible. It's not as common as certainly just, getting an FHA or conventional loan or USDA and bolting on a down payment assistance program. Do you need our email address to send a copy of video? When you registered, you provided your email and we sent you the link. So we have it, and you'll get the recording and the slides and some other resources by tomorrow. Let's see, where can I find an online course for Florida? That's going to depend on the program. So check the program details, which you can do through Down Payment Connect, and figure out where that particular program provider requires that the buyer go to take a course. If we belong to an MLS, can I customize my website? No, John, not if you are getting it through your MLS partnership. We have to deploy that automatically, and there are no customization features there, but the whole thing works, and it is free of charge if you are with our MLS partners. Let's see. How do we as agents access the homebuyer education course? You can take one online. Just again, look up any program provider and see what their homebuyer ed requirements are. There is a fee for these courses. It can range from $50 to $100 maybe, depending on the course. But I would actually say, if at when I don't want to say if, when things start to open back up and in-person homebuyer education courses become available again, that would be a great way to even like go with a prospect and say, hey, I'm going to come with you to this course. It's a great way to show them that you're serious, but also a great opportunity for you to learn and potentially network there too, because everybody there is looking to buy a home, right? A couple more here, then we'll cut this off. Are rates higher for down payment assistance than a conventional loan with 20% down? Higher LTV probably means higher rate just inherently. That's just the way that interest rates work. But if you compare apples to apples, if you compare, 3.5% down and 3.5% down with a down payment assistance program, that doesn't necessarily mean the rates are going to be higher. In fact, a lot of state housing finance agencies are super competitive with their rates, so that's worth looking into. Let's see. So I think with that, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. If you have further questions, our contact information is on the screen. We appreciate you guys joining. We hope you found this useful. Reach out to us at info@downpaymentresource.com if you have any questions. And then tomorrow, look out for the recording, the slide deck, and we will include some additional resources for you. So with that, thank you and good luck.